I graduated college and I went to New York, and I spent a year sort of getting my bearings and trying to figure out what was next. And at the end of that year, I decided that I did, in fact, want professional training. So I applied to the Neighborhood Playhouse School, which is in New York City. And that's one of the sort of great pioneers of the method in America is Sanford Meisner. And was Sanford Meisner. He's dead now. But the Neighborhood Playhouse is his school. And I studied there, and he actually had taken a long hiatus but was back. So I studied with Sandy Meisner and with other teachers there, and that's a 2-year program, and you finish with a certificate of acting, which is not the same thing as having a master's. The master's programs are 3-year programs, but that was a 2-year professional program, training program. Sandy, so in terms of Sandy's philosophy of acting, about the method, Sandy teaches that acting is living truthfully under the given imaginary circumstances. So where some teachers, like Strasberg, might ask you to sort of dig up your own private hell, whatever you've gone through, Sandy's going to ask you to imagine it, which is an incredibly freeing thing. You know, I mean, if you're one of the things that you learn when you study at the Neighborhood Playhouse is you learn preparation, which means you go outside of a room and you have to work yourself up into a state before you come back in. And if the state that you need to be in is, a state of terrible upset, well, then you can kill off every member of your family. It's imaginary, and it gives you license to do that, to imagine anything, to fantasize anything you want to fantasize in order to play a part. So that's Sandy's sort of tenet, is that it's living truthfully under imaginary circumstances. The other thing that he does the first year, which is really effective, is he teaches something called repetition. And what it does is he doesn't give anybody. You don't have a script for the first year, or at least you didn't when I was at the Playhouse. You never saw words. Everything was improvised, and it was improvised out of this beginning exercise where you were repeating. So if I said to you, "You're wearing a blue sweatshirt," then you would say, "I'm wearing a blue sweatshirt," and I would say it again, "You're wearing a blue sweatshirt." And as it progressed, maybe you'd get annoyed with me, and maybe you'd say, "Yeah, I'm wearing a blue sweatshirt," and then I might say, "What? You're annoyed with me?" And so you begin to sort of discover what your impulses are, what your responses are, how people make you feel regardless of words. And that's the idea behind repetition. You know what? I did not study acting at Yale. I think I took one theater course early on, and I didn't go to the Yale Drama School. I mean, there's really a big difference between going to Yale as an undergrad and going to Yale Drama School. I wasn't studying, and I think if you go to a program, if you're studying at a place like Yale, you're studying all kinds of theater. You're studying theater history, you're studying commedia, you're studying the classics, you're studying different styles of acting. The Neighborhood Playhouse training was really about contemporary method acting, about moment-to-moment, realistic work, evolving out of the 50s, when people like Odets and Patty Chayefsky, people like that were writing, and it was this kind of, it was all about, relationship, which is really what drives every scene, I think, relationship. So, and it was really about this kind of very present, very realistic kind of work. Not stylized in the least. And if you came in there with notions about yourself as an actor, you were going to get diminished very quickly. Nobody wanted to see you. The idea was not to see your acting. If you could see it, it wasn't any good. So it was sort of seamless that way. It was really exciting. I mean, I was very young. I was in my early 20s. And it was really exciting, and I think the thing that I didn't know about myself, And it's really important as a young actor that you know yourself. I mean, I knew, I had come up through high school and summer camp and college, and always, in situations like that, I was never going to play the ingenue, obviously. And I was always playing sort of women of indiscriminate origin and age. I was playing character roles. And I think what I didn't bargain for coming into the real world was that even though I was in my early 20s, I still wasn't going to play those parts. I wasn't the girl next door, and I wasn't the most gorgeous girl in the room. And so it's very difficult to sort of gauge where you belong in a situation like that. And then you second guess it and you think, okay, well, I went to the wrong school and I didn't make the right contacts and I didn't, I haven't schmoozed in the right ways and I haven't played the business end of this right. But in fact, I was, in terms of acting, I was 25 going on 40 in a lot of ways, and so I really had to kind of wait. I had to wait for the roles that were right for me. It was difficult. And what I ended up doing was becoming very frustrated with theater and wanting very badly to do theater. And I moved to Los Angeles because I thought, well, if I get some television and film under my belt, I can go back and do theater. But, you get ensconced wherever you are. I got married and I had kids and my goals changed.